Hi everyone, it's Monique Jeremiah from Diversity Models Modelling Agency, and today I am so excited and honoured to have Mr. River Knight here at our studio on the Gold Coast, because River is actually the boss of the Developing Australian Communities, Expos and organisation across the entire nation. So welcome, River.
Hey, thanks Monique, thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for your time today. To actually be in the same room with you here in the Gold Coast is quite an experience.
Oh, look at that, it's wonderful having all the lights. So I've been practicing my blue steel and I'm looking gorgeous all day and seeing some of the amazing talent that you've got here getting their photos done.
And he's such a natural in front of the camera. He's a good talker. He knows how to pose. So River actually runs Australia's biggest disability expos, which I'm sure everybody in the disability sector, healthcare sector, you know these expos. So tell us a little bit about them, your purpose. Why did you start these expos?
Yeah, well, look, a few years ago, I kind of had this idea of having big community events and not just little halls with stalls and pamphlets. And we just kicked off in Brisbane. First up, and it was immediately the biggest event Queensland had ever seen, like in the history of Australia. It was really well received, and of course my co-founder Mike Clark and I we got together and just launched them around Australia. So it's the biggest disability NDIS events now all over Australia, in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth. Perth's about to come up again. And it's just been really well received. And what we really wanted to do was have a community event. So we have an entertainment section, and then there's a massive stage all day. And of course, we're gonna have the runway going, coming up in the next few expos. We have an information hub, so people can come and go, I don't understand NDIS, I just need help. I need to talk to someone who knows what they're doing. They can come and get answers to any question whatsoever all day. It's all free. The event's free. We have a magazine there for people looking for services, and we have advocacy groups that float around as well to represent people with disability. But it's one of those events that's a bit rare, where it's actually been created, shaped and delivered by people living with disability, for people living with disability.
Absolutely. These particular expos, before I even entered the disability sector, I went to the expo and I was amazed at the size, the experience, the feeling, the vibe. It's just the most enriching environment to be in, especially if you're new to the sector or even if you're a long-term player. And so, what do you love about the disability sector itself?
Well, I think the thing that's really awesome at each one of these events is that we have such diversity. So we have people with physical disabilities, intellectual disabilities, we have carers, we have mums and dads, we have kids, adults, we have people going into that sort of over 65 bracket as well. And we get to come together as a community because there's so much going on in the NDIS space. So we have the legislation changes, and we've had a Royal Commission with all the scary stuff that people have heard around Australia, and which we already kind of know about in the disability sector, but we're really glad that Australia's got to have a peak. We've got the NDIS review, we've got all these things going on in the media, but we can get together and really create that disability sector that we can all be proud of by changing at the grassroots level and just getting things right.
Absolutely, and I think you said the right word there, to a sector to be proud of. Like, I've been in the sector much shorter time than River has, but there's an opportunity to really make it positive again. Shine the light on the good providers, the good businesses, the good leaders who are changing the face of the industry. Who are there in the media, sharing the real stories. Being a voice for the sector itself. River is really humble, I've got to say. That's why I said I'm so honoured to have him here and have his time. Thank you very much for that. And also thank you too for the opportunity to have our fashion shows in the future expos in Perth in August, Melbourne in October this year, Sydney next year and Brisbane next year.
Yep, we've got them all coming up again, and of course Perth isn't not far away in August, right there in the middle, and we're looking forward to having the runway, rolling out the red carpet, seeing some amazing diversity models from around the sector, really just showing off their stuff. And I think it's a great way to get people to get their confidence and get out there, and we've seen some really cool examples today, and I think diversity models is going to be amazing. So of course, if you're coming to Perth or Melbourne, make sure you're booking it in, and make sure you come along to the runway session there, because it's going to be great.
Absolutely, and it's also a chance to showcase the brands that are inclusive as well, that are paying attention to disabilities, because, you know, it's so important to, you know, showcase talent and be accommodating to people with disabilities.
And I think if you're lucky and you're one of those brands that Diversity Models decides that they want to work with, it's going to be a great opportunity to showcase some cool brands, because there's people that do some great work in that fashion industry that's specifically designed to modify clothing for people that have, you know, that diverse support need around, whether it's just physically different clothing or make things a little bit easier for people. But also, if you're a mainstream brand too, you know, it's one of those great opportunities to represent the rest of Australia, because 4.4 million people in Australia live with disability. So it's a huge market, and if you're ignoring it, you're certainly missing out.
Exactly. It's all about, you know, value innovation, you know, setting yourself apart as a blue ocean business, you know, in the fashion industry. You know, River, you do that too as an expo. You are an innovator, a leader, inspiration. You were inspiring me. So, no, thank you so much for this interview today, and I'm sure everyone is very inspired by River Knight. So check out Developing Australian Communities, which is his organisation with his business partner. And I absolutely encourage you to go to all the big expos across Australia, and also their virtual expo. And yes, let's support the disability sector and make NDIS a great place to be.
Yeah, and we'll see you in Perth.
I'll see you in Perth. Thanks everyone. Bye for now. Thank you, River.